Hi everyone, my name's Amy and I just thought I would make a quick video on horoscopes for the Pisces eclipse that's happening on the 18th of September. This is going to be a very emotional and sensitive eclipse as Neptune will be standing in the same part of the sky as the eclipse. Jupiter will also be connecting with the eclipse, who is the ruler of the eclipse, offering this big expansive quality, and maybe it comes with a sense of overwhelm and there's just too many feelings bubbling up and you just need to take some time out and hide from everyone. Okay, I'll get into the horoscopes now. Okay, so if you are an Aries rising, this eclipse is happening in your 12th house. So this can be a time where you just want to time out to yourself. You can feel more overwhelmed than all the other signs. It's a time too where you're really working on your spiritual development. It can be a time where you take a trip far away on your own and really look into the subconscious of your mind and work on all these behaviours that are bringing you undone. You could also be working on some long-term health issues and maybe working on your mental health as well. Okay, so if you are a Taurus rising, this eclipse will be activating your 11th house. So some new friendships can come into your life, but maybe first some old friendships have to go before you start putting in the effort to meet these new friends. It can be a time too where you just really want to go searching for your soul tribe and find people that align with your spiritual beliefs and how you see the world as well. Also, if you're part of any community groups or social groups, it can be a time where you're reevaluating your place in those as well. If you are a Gemini rising, this eclipse is activating your 10th house of career and what you do out in the world. So you can be probably feeling on the inside that it's time for change. It's time to maybe even step up the ladder or carve out a new path completely. It can be a time too where you're focusing, okay, do I need to study to do something else as well? It can also be a time where authority figures can just suddenly exit your workplace as well. If you are a Cancer, this eclipse will be activating your 9th house of travel, foreign places and lands, your belief systems, philosophy, higher education, and also it has to do with teaching and gurus and mentors. So if you have a mentor in your life that hasn't been pulling their weight, you could say goodbye to them. It can also be a time where you realize that you need to start exploring more deeply your belief systems and philosophies, or it could be a time where you start pondering or even beginning the process of a new line of study. Also, you can be traveling to foreign lands to explore the world and see what's out there to expand your horizons. If you are a Leo rising, this eclipse will be activating your 8th house. So you could be dealing with money matters, especially to do with loans, taxes, insurance, and mutual resources. It can be a time where you're paying off a debt or some money that is owed to you comes in. So if you've been waiting for an insurance payout, that can come in, or you can hear news of the insurance payout. It's also a time where you could pay off a bank loan or begin the process of looking into loans and stuff like that. You could also come across some financial problems and there's a big bill come your way and you've got to try to figure out how to pay it, and you may need to get a loan for that or help from another person. You can also be dealing with death and inheritance matters, so you could hear news of an inheritance or finally receive your inheritance payout. Okay, so if you are a Virgo rising, this eclipse will be hitting your 7th house of agreements, contracts, clients, relationships and partnerships. Now, relationships and partnerships can involve business partnerships as well. So you're probably going to be experiencing some changes in attitude or situations to do with either personal or business relationships. It can be a time of making new agreements or cutting some agreements or contracts that you have with others as well. Okay, so if you are a Libra rising or just Libra sun and moon, whatever, this eclipse is going to activate your 6th house of health, wellness, work and pets. So it could be a time where you're exiting a job. It can be a time where even a pet exits your life, or you start thinking that you might want a pet. It can also be a time where you're looking into some health and wellness routines, some new ones, because your health's been a problem or you discover that you have a health issue that you need to do something about. If you are a, Scorpio rising, this eclipse will be activating your 5th house of children, creativity, self-expression, fun, and romance. So it can be a time where you find out you're pregnant. It can be a time where your children have a new cycle opening up in your life. For instance, they can be leaving home or they're going to school. It can also be a time where you start putting a little bit more effort into your artwork or creative projects. And it'll also be a time where you start to think, I need to have more fun and romance in your life, and maybe you get on that awful Tinder dating app or some awful thing like that. If you are a Sagittarius rising, this eclipse will be activating your 4th house of home, family, and property. This is a time where you might hear that you have to move. It can also be a time where a new cycle begins or ends with your parents. You can also be working on buying a new place or doing something to a property that you like, renovating or working on a property that you earn. It can also be a time where you really start to look into your family history and see where you came from as well. If you are a Capricorn, this eclipse will be hitting your 3rd house of communications, media, siblings, training, and short trips. This can be a time where you're working on a new podcast or a podcast that you've been working on, you decide you don't want to do it anymore. It can also be a time when you start putting a lot more effort into your communications or start expanding your social media portfolio or something. It can also be a time where a new cycle opens up in your siblings or a cycle in their life ends as well. This can also mean that you are putting a lot more effort into a personal business, or you decide, I've had enough of this personal business, it's not working. If you are an Aquarius rising, this eclipse will be hitting your 2nd house of personal income, personal resources, and the money you make. So you could also be going over your budget, figuring out where you're spending too much money, where you've got to pull in the reins a little bit. It can also be a time where you're really working on self-sufficiency. How self-sufficient are you? Do you have to put in more effort to be self-sufficient because help that was once there has gone? It can also be a time where an income that was reliable leaves as well, or you start searching for some more income to supplement what you have. If you are a Pisces, this eclipse will be hitting your sign, so your 1st house. So new chapters in your life could open up, new big cycles as well. It can also mean you're working on your physical health. It can also mean that some changes are made to your appearance, or you just really get this churning in your belly that you really want to go after more in life. You get more ambitious and really put in the effort to really turn your life around and move it on to something better. Well, thanks for listening to your horoscopes, everybody, and I hope this eclipse treats you well. And just remember to be patient, and if the feelings come up, let them. It's perfectly normal, and if you can keep your schedule light, I think your body and your mind will thank you. Thank you.